Section 9.2.50-T. In the following probability distribution, the random variable x represents the number of activities a parent of a K to 5th grade student is involved in. We're going to complete parts A through F below. So in part A, we want to verify that this is a discrete probability distribution. Well, the first thing we need to look at the probabilities, and each of these probabilities are in between 0 and 1. And now we need to add those probabilities up. So let's add those probabilities up on our calculator. Okay, so we have 0.462 plus 0.074 plus 0.246 plus 0.069 plus 0.149. And that gives us an answer of 1. So the total of the probabilities is equal to 1. So therefore, we can say that this is a discrete probability because the sum of the probabilities is 1, and each probability is between 0 and 1 inclusive. Okay, now for part B, we want to be able to then graph the discrete probability distribution. So let's go ahead and open up our data here. So here's our data. We're going to open this up in StatCrunch. So we have our column of X, our probabilities. We're going to go to Stat and then select Calculators, and we're going to go all the way down to where it says Custom. And we know the values in are going to be X. The weights in are going to be the probability P of X, and then we're going to select Compute. And let's go ahead and copy that. So therefore, here is our probability distribution graph. Okay, now let's take a look at part C. In part C, it says to compute and interpret the mean of the random variable x. Well, when we graph this, we already found the mean. So the mean of the value of x here is going to equal 1.369. And so therefore, we can say that the mean is 1.369 activities. And if we want to interpret the mean, then we can say that as the number of experiments increases, okay, then the mean of the observations will approach the mean of the random variable. Now we're going to compute the standard deviation. Well, we can see that standard deviation has also been computed here by going using that probability distribution graph. So the standard deviation is going to be 1.5 if we round it to 1 decimal place. And so therefore we can say that the standard deviation is 1.5 activities. So for part E and F, it says, what is the probability that a randomly selected student has a parent involved in 3 activities? So let's go ahead and I'm going to bring this table down here. So let me copy this table here, this probability table. So we're asking, what is the probability that a randomly selected student has a parent involved in 3 activities? So what we're looking for is the probability of when x is equal to 3. So the probability of when x is equal to 3 is 0.069 from our table. So therefore, the probability that a randomly selected student has a parent involved in 3 activities is 0.069. Okay, and then for the next part, it says, what is the probability that a randomly selected student has a parent involved in 3 or 4 activities? So that means that we want to take the probability of when x is equal to 3 plus the probability of when x is equal to 4. So we know the probability of when x is equal to 3 is 0.069, and the probability of when x is 4 is 0.149. So when we add them together, we get 0.0218. And so therefore, the probability the randomly selected student has a parent involved in 3 or 4 activities is 0.218.